Okay, welcome to Group 1's Brain Development presentation. Those who are going to be presenting today are Anna, Aubrey, Brady, and Callie. We're going to be reviewing and covering over the first developments of the brain in the first stages of life, and without further ado, we'll get started.
All right, so the first section is prenatal development, and this is when the central nervous system is the first, which the brain forms right then, and the central nervous system is the first body to form. It consists of the brain and the spinal cord, and the brain is the center of all of our thoughts and interprets our external movements. Also, it interprets our environment. By day 100, which is the third picture in the picture that is present on the screen, the brain starts to look somewhat human. So the first trimester, which is 0 to 13 weeks, this is the most crucial to the baby's development because this is when miscarriages and birth defects can happen the most, which you have to be careful and make sure your body is prepared so that you can try the best to avoid that. And the baby's body structure and organ systems begin to develop. After the third week, the neural projector cells duplicate until some create neurons, which are brain cells. So now the brain is starting to react and start to work. The nerve connections are built that enable your baby to move around in the womb also. By the second trimester, which is 14 to 26 weeks, the gender characteristics are starting to form, and this affects the structures and connections in the brain. The brain at this point has developed billions of neurons, and it had been smooth by like 100 days, but now there are folds and wrinkles, which are called ridges and depressions, and they allow the human brain to be larger and more complex. The 6 layers of the cortex are produced, and it's from top to the top layer is the last to form, so it's from the bottom all the way up to the top. And for the third trimester, which is the final one, this is the final months of pregnancy, and it's crucial for the brain in a different way than the first trimester because the membranes and bones covering the brain thicken, which helps prevent brain bleeds. Various lobes and areas of the brain are established at this point, and pathways between one area and another are forged, such as sound and sight. So all the senses are connected. That's why newborns can tell their mother's voice when they see them, because in the body they can hear them. They also establish connections for thinking, remembering, and responding.
In the first year of life, children are making lots of developments to their brain during the first year. They are beginning to develop their ability to control their body, recognize faces, control their emotions, and gain a long-term memory. During the first year of life, the child's brain doubles in size, and they are beginning to develop different parts and functions of their brains. A child's brain develops the following parts of their brain during the first life: the cerebellum, the visual cortex, and the limbic structure. The cerebellum is in charge of the child's physical development and motor skills. It is where the brain's most advanced activities take place, such as decision-making and learning. Most of the growth of the brain in the first year takes place in the cerebellum. Through the cerebellum development, babies learn to hold their heads up, grasp objects, and stand up. The visual cortex is the part of the brain that helps us process visual information. In the first year, the visual cortex changes rapidly, helping the child to recognize faces, shapes, and colors. Newborns are able to see objects that are 8 to 10 inches away from them. In the first 6 months of the child's age, their vision significantly becomes better. The limbic structure is the part of the brain that controls long-term memory and emotion. This development helps the baby to become more aware of the world around them. This part of the brain is what makes you sad about losing someone and makes you realize the joy of loving someone.
All right, during the second year of life, most children will start to develop their personalities and become more independent from their parents and find their own interests. A child's brain will grow up to 75% of its adult weight and develop in developing its adult brain, and this allows the children to start to fill up all that mass with new information and to catch up quickly in life. The brain is the fastest growing organ in the entire body in the first years of life. A child's brain starts developing and making new connections in the following skills of life in brain development, such as problem solving, communication, self-control, and relationship building. During problem solving, children are pushed to learn new things every single day and learning to solve other problems. Children typically start in the second year of life to look underneath blankets, chairs, and other objects to find what they're looking for, learn to open cupboards, doors, and lids, begin to sort shapes and colors, learn to use both hands simultaneously to do different tasks, and name items such as cat, bird, and dog. Kids start to communicate and speak more in their second year of life. Typically, kids will start to point at images or certain things and they can say their names. Kids will start recognizing and memorizing names of close family members and friends and will say those names. And kids typically at anywhere from 12, 18 to 24 months will make 2 to 4 word sentences, and they will repeat words and phrases that they overhear from other people. They often point with their fingers and start using body language such as frustration, sad, or happy in their faces. Relationship building. Children become more social in their second year of life and begin to develop social skills and develop new friendships and relationships that are outside of the direct family. Between age 1 and age 2, children will start to copy adults and other children, feel excited to see other children. They will start to show more independence by playing in a different room or running off farther away at the park. They start to say names of people they know and give affection to others they love, and they will start inviting others to play and to come hang out with them. Self-control. Kids start to learn things such as self-control in the second year of life. Typically, in the second year of life, kids start to do potty training, learning to do as they are told, not hitting when they are angry, not whining when they are upset, and not breaking pre-existing rules established by the parents in the home. Learning to wait and to be patient for things that they want, and they learn how to try and eat new foods.
All right, so for the third year of life, a little bit of general information about understanding the development. This time period includes the child being 25 to 36 months old. They start to develop complex thinking abilities. They develop fine motor skills, and some of the people who have come up with the concepts of development during early childhood are Piaget, Vygotsky, Kohlberg, and Erikson. And children also start to develop skills, which kind of interrelates with fine motor skills. And they also have doubled in height by this time. Their weight has quadrupled since the beginning, and they start having more of a spoken vocabulary. They can form more complex sentences, and they also begin the use of their social emotional skills. So some physical abilities that they start to develop are things such as throwing, kicking, and catching balls, walking up and down the stairs with help from a parent or a railing, and they can also develop the ability to start to ride a tricycle. They also start to enjoy playing with others and interacting, and you think about like the preschool age, and that's kind of where they're at. They're starting to learn different abilities to prepare them for kindergarten. They really enjoy singing, playing games, and they also start to imitate what they're seeing. So this is called monkey see, monkey do, it's kind of referenced to, and they're known as mirror neurons within the brain. So from the emotional aspect, you'll typically see them develop social emotional skills, which include peer relationships, gender identification, so they know the difference between gender typically, and then they also start to have a sense of what's right and what's wrong. During this stage, they also develop a sense of self-confidence, which includes gaining more independence, which is why they start to say no. And they also develop a basic learning basic life skills, so they're starting to get dressed on their own. They develop like their own sense of style. They start brushing their hair and their teeth on their own, etc. This is also where one of the stages of development comes into place, and it's one of Erikson's stages of development, and it's autonomy versus shame and doubt. And so they start to differentiate, and they can feel guilt in certain senses. They also start recognizing the fact that their behavior has impacts on others. And they also start to throw temper tantrums because they can get frustrated regarding not being able to communicate in such complex sentences, even though they do have words developed. So thinking and learning, they start to learn things like wording and sentences within their preschool classes. They start having favorite stories. They know repetition a lot. Like repetition helps them learn. They really enjoy rhyming, and they start just learning the basics of reading and writing. And their thinking skills, they start to develop the sense of pretend play, and they really enjoy imaginary play. And they start understanding what words and symbols mean.
All right, these are our cited sources for our project and the websites that we visited to obtain our information. And these are the cited sources for the images that we use in our project. Thank you for listening.